Hi everybody, welcome to episode 50 of the Pins and Needles podcast. My name is Zoe. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Pins and Needles UK. You can contact me by direct message or you can use my email address, and I've put all of that information down below in the drop down box. There'll also be show notes down there with links to things and timestamps as well if you want to skip between particular sections. Check down there for all of the information. I do also start an episode thread in the Ravelry group. It's just a bit easier for back and forth conversations, so feel free to have a look at that. You can also find information for the Knit Tea Retreat and Cartref Yarn, and those are both businesses that I run with my friend Jenny of Owl About Yarn. You can find her information down there as well. I've had quite a few new subscribers over the last couple of episodes, so in case you didn't know, Jenny and I run the Knit Tea Retreat, which is exactly what it sounds like. We hold 2 retreats a year, one in October in Cardiff, and that's a workshop based one. That's about 5 weeks out now, fully booked, doing all the final details for that. But we do also do a summer one in June, and we hold that in Stratford-on-Avon. Birthplace of Shakespeare, ring a bell? And that one is more of one long knit and natter. So Cardiff is workshops, Stratford is knit and natter. So if you're interested in any of that, there's links to the newsletter down below. And if you sign up to that, you won't miss out on any information when booking goes live for the next one. We also run Cartref Yarn together, and that is our 100% Welsh yarn business. We do everything from buying the fleece to having it processed to dyeing it, all in Wales. And we've just had, I'll show you in acquisitions, but we've just had the next batch of undyed yarn delivered, and we will be getting our pots on to sell some of that in the marketplace at the Knit Tea Retreat. I wanted to tell you about the marketplace. That is Sunday the 20th of October, 2 till 5 p.m. It's free entry and it's open to everyone, retreat attendees, members of the public, passers-by, everyone's welcome. And that is at Insole Court in Cardiff. And if you follow the Knit Tea Retreat at the Knit Tea Retreat on Instagram, I'm starting to release details of the vendors, and so far I have announced that we have got Caroline of Colourful Creativity. She's coming back for a second year, which is brilliant. And I've also announced that Becky of Riverknits will be coming back, and she always brings Marcus and Bryn with her as well. So if you're interested, follow the Instagram account, and I'm also doing a marketplace vendors thread in the retreat group, so you can head over there, and I include links to everyone's websites or Etsy shops. So if you're interested in coming to the marketplace, you can have a little sneaky look in advance and plan your purchases. And I wanted to make it clear again that the Knit Tea Retreat is absolutely everybody is welcome. Jenny and I have said this before on previous blogs specifically for the retreat, but I think it's worth repeating. Our online spaces and our physical spaces are safe and inclusive and welcoming places for everybody, regardless of age, gender, religion, sexual orientation, or ethnic background. And we have policies in place to lay out our expectations of behaviour and consequences if that is not fulfilled. They're up on our website, which you can go and have a look. We will be distributing copies to our attendees, and there will be signs up in the marketplace as well. We have also supported Jeanette Sloan's BIPOC in Fibre website. We're really pleased to be able to help with that. That's going to be a fantastic new online resource promoting the work of BIPOC in the fibre world, being a portal for people who are looking for anything from designers to tech editors, anything like that. So we're really pleased to be able to contribute to that as a business, and we'll definitely be using it. It's not up and running yet. They've just been crowdfunding to source all the money to get it set up, and they have now hit their target. So really pleased for that as well. Okay, I think that's everything. Oh no, there was one more thing. I forgot to say that we are having a retreat make-along. And again, anybody can join in the make-along. Attendees, people that aren't coming, absolutely anybody. Again, it's taking place in the Ravelry group. And if you post stuff up on social media, you can use hashtag RetreatMal2019. I'll try and remember to put that down here. And the theme is retreat. So we keep it as broad as possible. So it could be a pattern by a designer that's attending the retreat as a tutor. It could be that you bought yarn from the retreat marketplace. It could be you're going to use a pattern that was gifted to you by somebody you met at the retreat. It really doesn't matter. If you can think of a link, we'll accept it. There will be prizes, and we'll cobble those together and we'll announce those on the Saturday at the retreat. And if any of the winners are not attendees, then we will post it out to them afterwards. Right. Finished objects. First up, to nobody's surprise, is my finished bounce blanket. Now this is a pattern by TinCanKnits. It's a paid for pattern available on Ravelry. And last time I showed you, I was up to this green segment here. So I had about 1, 2, 3, I had 4 repeats to go and the bind off, and I blocked it, and I'm absolutely thrilled with how it came out. The multicoloured yarn is a DK weight yarn, Colourwheel by Sirdar. I can't remember the colourway, but it's down below. And that was a gift from my mum. And then the cream is Stylecraft DK. It doesn't have a colourway number, it's just called cream. And I bought that from Ange of Yarn and Yarns, which is my local bricks and mortar yarn store. Yeah, so I finished it. I shoved it in the washing machine and then I pinned it out to dry. I didn't want to open the lace up too much, just so it doesn't catch little fingers, but I did want to even everything out. So I waited until it was completely dry, and then I killed it with steam, because in order for acrylic to hold a block, you need to superheat it. You don't touch the iron on the work, you just hover it over and blast it with steam. So this means it's completely machine washable, and touch wood, the next time it goes through the machine it shouldn't need pinning out again, it should just stay put. Something I wanted to pick up on again from last time, more in relation to this jumper, but the point stands. I mentioned being a bit underwhelmed with the yarn for my jumper because it was commercial yarn. And I don't think I made myself clear. I often knit with commercial yarn, and I'm very happy to do so. I do not need indie dyed yarn or fancy expensive yarns whatsoever. I enjoy working with commercial yarns. It's just that any yarn I buy, indie or commercial, I do like to feel a connection to the seller. So if you go and if I went and bought exactly the same yarn from a John Lewis shop or from Angela at Yarn and Yarns, I'm going to feel way more affection for that exact same yarn if I buy it from Angela. So this is all commercial yarn, this blanket, but as I said, the coloured yarn was a gift from my mum, so that was nice, and I bought the cream from Ange. So yeah, I don't think I made myself clear. I don't want to appear sniffy about commercial yarn. I'm absolutely not. I love using it. So there we go, that's my bounce blanket. My brother's baby is due towards the end of this month, so a few more weeks to go. So I'm going to wrap that up nicely and cook some dinners to put in the freezer for them for after the baby comes, and then I think that would be a pretty good baby gift. The other finished object I am wearing. This is my Stasis jumper. It's a pattern by Retreat Rav for Brooklyn Tweed. I knit it in Debbie Bliss Rialto 4-ply. I think I put one of the leftover balls of it in my blanket. Yes, I did. Debbie Bliss Rialto 4-ply. And the brown colourway is 22005. And the cream is 22002. Just as a point of note, something that Angela was talking about again, and somebody else on a different podcast, the way these balls are wound is my absolute least favourite way to knit from a ball of yarn. They just suddenly, all the yarn pulls off the side in a big old chunk like that and flaps about everywhere, and yeah, not happy, don't like it. But anyway, that's not the point. I knit the 5th size in this pattern, and I think I followed the pattern pretty exactly. The only difference was my row gauge was a bit off. I was getting fewer rows to the inch than the pattern called for, which meant that my work was longer. Now for most of it, it doesn't matter at all. I had to recalculate the sleeve, the rate of increases for the sleeve. And when I did the only place it would really matter is the yoke. I didn't want a massively too deep yoke and then have my armpit divide by my waist. So when you join the arms and the body together, you do a few decreases here, then you knit this lovely colourwork yoke, and then you decrease again up here. So there's no decreases in the pattern. So I knit the colourwork, and then I worked out, according to the pattern, how many inches I had to knit between sets of decreases. So you decrease right immediately after the colourwork, again kind of in the middle, and then again just before you do the rib collar. So I worked out how many inches that was and just measured it rather than, ending up with a hugely drapey yoke. Blocking sorted out a slightly wonky neckline. There are short rows around the back to raise the back up, but I felt it just sat a little bit peculiarly, but a good block sorted that out, no problems whatsoever. I did wash and block my tension square back in whenever it was I started this jumper, but it has grown a little bit in the blocking. I was very careful about scooping the jumper up. I didn't pick it up and let it all stretch out. And although I blocked it, all I did was hand wash it. I spun it in Jenny's spin dryer that we use for spinning the water out of the yarn. And then I very carefully just laid it out flat on my blocking mats, and I just smoothed it out. I didn't pin it or stretch it. I just patted it smooth. Dried in a couple of days. And overall, I'm very happy with it. Like I said, it's come out a little bigger than I was planning, but it's fine. The sleeves grew a bit more than I would expect. I've been wearing it today, even though it's 18 degrees Celsius in Wales. When is it going to be autumn? I'm done with summer, so I'm wearing my jumper in spite of the weather. So it's actually wrinkling up a little bit as I wear it today, so I think it will probably be all right. But if desperate, I can always snip one of the legs of a stitch, unravel an inch out of it and graft it back together. I'm going to put my laptop down and see if I can show you the rest of it without knocking anything over. So there's colourwork around the bottom. My jeans have fallen down a bit as well. Okay, so there's my waist. And there's my hip bone, so it sits just below my hips. And you can see there's a nice amount of ease there. Oh, and I'm back. So, overall, I'm really pleased with it. I think I'm going to get a lot of wear out of it over the autumn and winter. And there's plenty of space for wearing a t-shirt underneath. So yeah, Stasis Jumper, hurrah! Next up is works in progress, and really I've only got one. I was knitting almost exclusively on this for since the last podcast, the last couple of weeks, because I just really wanted to get it finished. I do have a design on the needles that I now have to knit pretty much exclusively on that until it's finished. That's the pattern I'm designing for the Knit Tea Retreat, we always have in the pamphlet that everyone gets in the gift bags, there's always a pattern that Jenny or I have designed and the yarn to go with it. So I've come up with a design. I've written the pattern up today and sent it off to my tech editor. Hello, Kathy, you marvellous woman. And now I need to knit the item in the proper yarn. I raided my stash for some scraps to sort of work the design out until I was happy with it. And Jenny came over Wednesday, just gone, and we dyed up all the yarn for the gift bags. And that's dried, so now I can start knitting the actual item. So I need to get that finished and photographed, and I need test knitters, and it's all go, go, go. So I unfortunately, that means I've only got one work in progress to show you, and you have seen it before. This is my man sock for Dave. Hang on a sec, which is the right DPN to take out? There we go. So this is just a 3x1 ribbed sock pattern that I made up out of my brain. I'm still on the first sock. This is the one that I took on our rather brief holiday to West Wales, if any of you watched that. I love Opal yarn, really enjoy knitting with it, and this is quite a fun colourway. Again, I bought this from Angela. I went over, she kept teasing me with photographs of the Claude Monet range that Opal brought out, I don't know, 6 months ago. And I just can't not buy Opal yarn. So I dashed over and picked up a ball of each of the of those colourways. And she just said, if you like Opal, there's a spare ball going in the sale bin. So that was this stripy yarn, and I bought it. So I think it's quite an old colourway. Colourway 2085. I don't think that it's from a particular range, but I could be wrong. Yeah, so these need to be done for Christmas. I'm cracking on with them. They go with me to work in my work bag, and if I have an hour in between clients, I might do a few cheeky rows. I'm not sure what's going on here. No, that's the attached end. And what's that? Oh, I think the middle came out. I tell you what, I think my ball winder's dying. I've got one of the Royal ball winders, and I was winding up yarn yesterday, and the whole bleeding thing flew off. Not just the ball of yarn, but I don't know what you call it, the central post that you twist onto it, just went flying across the room. And then of course it all got tangled in the gears and anyway, so I might need a new ball winder. But socks. So I think I'm going to have to put these in my work bag. Mind you. No, I think I'm just going to have to put these away and keep working on the retreat design, because they need to be done, because they need to be photographed. So there we go. That is my only work in progress. I am very tempted to cast on something new because I've got the yarn, which I'll show you in acquisitions, but I think I need to be strong. I must be strong. Ooh, acquisitions. I've still got acquisitions. Even after all the acquisitions, I'm still playing catch up. So, any of you that have seen me on Instagram, sorry, but you'll have seen these before. These are my big girl pants. And I was trying to work out how I could show these on Instagram, and I put them on over my black work gym leggings, and took a couple of silly pictures on Instagram. So if you want, you can go back through. So these are hand sewn by my lovely friend Jo, who is Jo Knit Sew. You can find her website linked down below. And she dyes yarn and spins and is generally wonderful, and she makes project bags. But she makes pants. These are called big girl pants, and I haven't worn them yet because I wanted to keep them nice to show you. But I've heard lots of people say how unbelievably comfortable they are. And look, she serges the inside with rainbow thread. Look at that. And there's her label, Jo Knit Sew, and on the inside it says, handmade in South Staffordshire. So maybe tomorrow I'll finally get to wear my big girl pants. And those were a present from Jenny, which was very kind. So thank you, Jenny. What else have I got? Oh, yes. I'm not sure if Jenny's going to be stocking this yarn ongoing. She just bought some to have a look at it. But this is merino 4-ply with nylon Donegal nep, and it's called Tweed Owl. So from Jenny, obviously of Owl About Yarn. I don't know if this has a colourway name, because she dyed it up and just gave me all the skeins I wanted, bless her. So I've wound up 2 of these, and I think, sorry, that bingle with my laptop. I think I'm going to knit a boxy by Joji Locatelli. The pattern was very kindly given to me by Mars of Hey Brownberry. Thank you, lovely lady. So I've got 5 skeins of this. I think I only need 4, but I've got 5 skeins of this, and that I think will be my next garment cast on. Yeah, I could just do with some more everyday cardigans and jumpers. But I know if I cast this on, I'm not going to get through my retreat design, so I must be strong. So if any of you see me knitting this, give me a smack. And thank you very much, Jenny. Oh, yes. I'm not the most exciting, adventurous, interesting person that you'll ever meet. And if you needed proof of this, one of my great pleasures is choosing a fresh tea towel from the drawer. I've got a kitchen drawer, and I've got like hand towels folded up on one side, and I've got tea towels folded up on the other side, and I really like a nice fresh tea towel, and I've got some lovely ones, some that I've bought from various places, and quite a few vintage ones that my mum has passed down to me. And I put a picture up on Instagram of my fresh tea towel of the day. And it was really nice. It was 100% Irish linen, and it was sort of printed green, and it had 2 little donkeys on it. And I just put up on Instagram saying, gosh, I love a fresh tea towel, thinking, good Lord, Zoe, nobody cares. Literally nobody cares about your tea towels. But there's more of you out there. There's a whole subculture of knitters that love a fresh tea towel. Anyway, and one lovely lady called Michelle, hi Michelle, who's all the way over in America, although she's actually from New Zealand, shares my love of tea towels. And she buys tea towels and then embroiders them and adds lovely crochet edges, and honestly her work is lovely. And she asked if she could send me some, and I thought, gosh, isn't that lovely? And so I said, yes, please, thank you, because I love a tea towel. And so this is what she sent me. And this, I must confess, it's been a couple of months, I think, since she sent them to me. But it's taken me this long to show you. So this is the first one. It says jam packed with love. And this, she sent me 2, and this is my favourite, Michelle. And if you can make it out, the green at the top is the lid of a jam jar, and then there's a big bow around the bottom. All hand stitched. She draws, do you draw them out on the fabric first? But she puts them in a hoop and does the embroidery. And so even, all the letters are the same height and everything. So that's my favourite one. And then that's the other one, which I also love. Look, Spice of Life, it says. And look at all the flowers and the leaves going around the outside, and the little French knots. And there's a garlic. I love that you can identify. Look, there's garlic down there. I don't know if you can see. And then there's star anise. And I just thought, well, these are far too lovely to actually use. And I think it was Mairead who said that her best tea towels she doesn't use. She uses them for sort of wrapping up bread and things like that. But I think what I'm going to use these for is as a lap cloth for when I'm spinning. So you can lay a cloth over your lap, partly to catch some of the fluff, but also if you're spinning a dark fibre and you're wearing, say, blue jeans, it can be hard to see the fibre against the fabric of your clothing. So you can use a lap cloth for contrast. So I think these will be lap cloths for when I'm spinning darker fibres. So thank you very much, Michelle. It was really kind of you to send them. Such a treat to have such lovely things. And they've got hanging loops. I'm very lucky. Okay, next up is a bit of fibre. Now again, when we were at Fibre East, I think I mentioned it in my Fibre East blog, Mina of the Knitting Expat came over to the stand, and we headed over to the John Arbon stand to buy some fibre. One of the lumps is on my wheel, which I'll show you in a minute, but I also bought 2 100-gram bumps of Corriedale. Now I've never spun with Corriedale before, but it feels lovely. So this one is sort of a lovely tealy colour. That one's a red and black. Really nice and soft. I've no plans for them. I might make fingerless mitts out of this because it would go with my work uniform. And this just went with it. And it's just a lovely colour. So, and super cheap. I tried to look it up on the website to find the price of everything. I found the price of the Polworth, which is on my wheel at the moment. That was £3.50 for 100 grams. And these were more, but not much more. So really, really good value. And I've left a link to the John Arbon website down below. So that's those. And I think, sorry, excuse me, the next things that I've got to show you are related to my spinning wheel, which I will give you a proper shot of as well. I didn't want to just start spinning pointless yarn, in that, I don't mean pointless yarn because there's nothing wrong with just spinning. It can be about the spinning and not about the finished product. I wanted to be purposeful, I suppose, is the word I'm thinking of. I want to try and spin for a purpose. So I tore off a little bit of the Polworth when I got the wheel, just to get a feel for the wheel. I spun about 25 grams or something, and that had no purpose except to get me familiar with the wheel itself. But other than that, I want to try and spin consistently, and I want to try and spin for a purpose. So I'm not sure how interesting my spinning is actually going to be for you guys, because I'm never going to spin art yarns. I'm never going to spin yarn with nubbly bits in it or anything like that. I'm just going to spin nice, smooth yarn that I may or may not ply in interesting ways. So to help me with consistency, I treated myself to one of these. Now this is a spinner's control card from Hilltop Cloud. You can see it down the bottom. And Katie of Hilltop Cloud she lives and works in Mid Wales, so it's a nice Welsh product. And there's holes on the top for hanging this off your wheel. And basically you can use the different thickness lines on the control card to test that the yarn you are spinning is the correct thickness for what you're aiming for. So you can spin a single, ply it up however you intend to ply your finished yarn, and then you can compare it. You just literally hold it up to one of these stripes to see if you're spinning it correctly. And you can also wind the yarn from top to bottom to check the wraps per inch, and she gives you a handy wraps per inch thing at the top. This is cherry wood. I think her father makes these, and again her website is down below. So I bought myself one of those, and I'll show you my wheel now. It's from the 1980s. There's a really interesting bit on the Ashford website where it shows you the evolution of the Ashford traditional spinning wheel. So judging by the design on some of the central spokes and the placement of logos and what those look like, it can help you date your wheel. And I think mine comes from the early 80s, 1982 plus, I think. And the lady I bought it from, Susan, she's very lovely. She's one of the regulars in my home thread on Ravelry. She'd bought it from a fellow spinner and she'd taken it apart, cleaned it up and stained it this lovely dark colour. So I knew that it worked. But it needed a new brake band, it needed new hooks, it needed a new tension and springs. So for, I think it was about £20, I hopped online to thefibrehut.co.uk and bought an Ashford spinning wheel maintenance kit. So it comes with brake bands and new springs and new hooks, which are already on my wheel. It comes with a spinning wheel oil and these little conrod connectors and things, which I didn't need, but I've kept hold of them. And I also, when I picked up the wheel, it also came with an Ashford Lazy Kate, but some of the wires, there was only one proper wire on there. The rest were old coat hangers, I think. So I bought a couple of those. Okay, this is the standard Ashford Lazy Kate that came with it. The wheel came with one bobbin, so I had to buy a couple of extras. Those are the undyed ones. And these are what they call the wires. These are the rods. You just poke it through the side, through your bobbin, out the other side. There you go. Which means that when you're plying, they can spin quite freely. It's a really nice solid heavy wooden base, so it doesn't topple over. And then right at the top, you can see my bobbin of Polworth. Is that? Yeah. Now this I started spinning up before I bought the spinner's control card. What I was hoping to do with the Polworth is spin for a fingering weight chain ply. And I think I'll probably just about get there. It might turn out a little thicker. So I'm about 3/4 of the way through. I've spun up half already. I've got the other half on the wheel and I will chain ply that when I'm done and we'll see what I come out with. But it's a lovely fibre to spin, really nice. Okay, I'm going to put the laptop down again and see if I can show you my wheel. Okay, here she is. At the moment, she lives in front of my gas fire, which we never switch on, so I don't think I need to worry about her drying out or anything. But yeah, she stained this lovely dark colour. And I met Susan in the car park at Fibre East to hand the wheel over so she didn't have to heave it into the venue. And she disassembled it. Well, she'd taken the main wheel out and the mother of all off so that it would fit in the car. So I took the opportunity when I got it home to rub some Danish oil into the wood. So it just made it a little bit, not shiny, but just a bit of a glow about her. Oiled the joints, things like that. So now she's looking absolutely tip top. She's a single treadle. And as you can see, I replaced the hooks, so they're all nice and shiny and gold. And I also replaced the brake band and the springs. This lovely bag was given to me by Melissa, and it's Humanities. And she has one that matches, and it's by Knit Spin Quilt. And it is now my spinning fibre bag. There we go. So that's how much fluff I've got left to spin. That just lives in there. Oh. Trying to do this without moving the phone too much and making you all feel sick. And there's the second bobbin. So I'm absolutely tickled pink with my wheel. Susan was very kind and sold it to me for an absolute bargain. And she's a really lovely wheel. She's a nice size, fits tidily in my front room, and she will be all the wheel that I ever need. So there we go, that's my most important acquisition. All that we've got left now is the last bit of chat, I think, really. Today is September the 14th. So all my kids have finally gone back to school. Oh my God. September is my new year. Oh, hello, Jim. He's just been out for a walk. Yeah, September is my new year. January is a pointless random date in the middle of winter where nothing changes. But September is back to school. It's autumn. It's fresh pencils, new shoes. Absolutely love it. So I've been trying to, it was a really, really busy summer. So I've been trying to take myself in hand and get a bit more organised. Thanks to Emma of Elderma Craft, who also has a fabulous podcast you should go and watch. She made a comment on one of her Instagram posts about scheme is the wrong word, about a system that she uses to keep on top of her housework. And it's called the Organised Mum Method, I think. I don't like the fact that it just says mum in it. But anyway, I thought I'll give it a bash because I felt like I wasn't getting very far. So I've set that system up and it seems to be working really well. Kids are involved, Dave is involved, everyone's doing their bit. So that's felt good. Jenny and I had a good business type meeting and put some deadlines and some dates in calendars, and we're cracking on with that. So that's nice. And she's coming over tomorrow, Sunday. So today, if you're watching on Sunday, she's coming over. We're going to go and watch Downton Abbey, the movie. I'm going to go to the pictures tomorrow morning and watch that. And then we're going to spend the rest of the day dyeing Cartref Yarn in the kitchen. Oh, I was going to show you the delivery of yarn. I'll finish the chat and then I'll show you at the end. So yeah, preparations for the October Knit Tea Retreat are kicking up a gear. There's always bits and pieces last minute that need doing. We were out there earlier in the week, emailing and filling in forms and talking to people. Yeah, super busy with pattern design and tech editing. What else did I have? I think that's about it, which is enough to keep me busy, along with being a personal trainer and a mum of 3. Oh, there was one last thing. Somebody asked me in the comments on the last podcast about my ring. Why was I wearing a turquoise wedding ring? This is not my original wedding ring. I've got a plain gold band. But my original wedding band is 18 karat gold, which means it's fairly soft. And I run a gym in Cardiff with Dave, my husband, and I'm a personal trainer. So I train myself several times a week, 3 to 4 times a week. And obviously I have lots of personal training clients. So I spend a huge amount of time lifting Olympic bars, putting 20 kilogram plates on and off stands and things like that. And I used to have to take my wedding band off because I didn't want to scrape it. And if any of you have heard of degloving, if you haven't and you're squeamish, don't look it up. But basically it means where you catch your ring on something and you can scrape all the flesh off your finger. So if I was putting something away and it slipped, or if I was training, I could deglove my ring finger. So I was also worried about losing my ring. I used to tuck it into the pocket in the top of my leggings, but that wasn't particularly secure. So Dave and I went online and for £7, I bought this super fancy ring. Well, I got 6. And they're just silicone rings. That's all they are. So that's why I'm wearing a turquoise ring. It doesn't mean anything other than health and safety comes first. Okay, I think that's it. I will take you with me and go and show you the delivery of Cartref Yarn. Bear with. Okay, here's the Cartref Yarn delivery. Ignore that, that's a picnic chair that needs to go back in the shed. So this is about half the amount of yarn that we had delivered the first time round. This was just from a small run we did up to the depot. I think it was February of this year. And this is how it comes back to us. So this is all undyed. Let me see if I can have a fiddle. Yeah. So in this bunch, there's 5 100-gram skeins, and Roger just bunches them all together like this. So I'm going to have to go through some of these tonight. I undo these big bunches. I twist the skeins up individually and put them into soak before dyeing. But yes, this is the second batch, and it's really nice and consistent in colour and in feel. And God, I wish you could smell it. It smells of sheep and spinning oil and just pure Welsh woolly potential. So we're really thrilled to have this in time, but we've got to dye like the wind tomorrow to get it all done in time to sell to you lovely guys at the Knit Tea Retreat. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully I'll be back in 2 weeks' time. Bye.